Demystifying caffeine's impact on brain blood flow. What you need to know. Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're delving into an intriguing topic: how caffeine affects blood flow in our brains. But before we get started, it's crucial to remember that while caffeine can offer a temporary boost, excessive and long-term consumption can potentially lead to some concerning health effects. Always remember to consult a healthcare professional before making significant changes to your caffeine intake, especially if you have specific health conditions. Important caution. So, let's talk about it. Prolonged and high-dose caffeine intake can have detrimental effects on our health. This includes heightened blood pressure, increased vascular resistance, arterial stiffness, and even a significant reduction in blood flow to the brain. In fact, drinking 2 to 4 cups of caffeine daily can lead to a substantial 20–30% decrease in cerebral blood flow. Now, with this context in mind, let's move on to a recent study that provides some eye-opening insights into how caffeine affects blood flow in young, healthy individuals who aren't regular coffee drinkers. In this study, a group of 45 university students between 18 and 22 years of age were included, none of whom were regular coffee drinkers. Most reported consuming 1 to 2 cups of coffee daily in unusual situations, like during exam season. The participants were randomly categorized into 3 groups, with each group comprising 15 participants. In the low and high caffeine groups, participants were administered 45 milligrams and 120 milligrams of caffeine in capsulated forms, respectively. In the control no caffeine group, participants were given flower capsules as a placebo. Transcranial Doppler ultrasonography was performed to measure the flow velocity in the middle cerebral artery at baseline before caffeine consumption and 30 minutes after caffeine consumption. While obtaining the velocity measurements, participants were asked to perform functional tests that assessed hypo and hyperventilation, as well as 3 cognitive activities measuring short-term memory, vocabulary problem-solving, and math problem-solving. Important observations. The study revealed some important findings. In the low caffeine group, there was a significant reduction in mean and peak systolic velocities during hypoventilation, as well as in the short-term memory and vocabulary problem-solving tests. A substantial reduction in end diastolic velocity was also observed during hypoventilation, hyperventilation, and the short-term memory test. In the high caffeine group, there was a significant reduction in all tested parameters of mean velocity, peak systolic velocity, end diastolic velocity, and heart rate in all evaluations. Comparatively, no significant differences in the velocities were observed between baseline and post-intervention conditions in the control group. Changes during functional tests. When participants engaged in functional tests, we saw interesting changes. During hypoventilation, the velocities decreased slightly in the first 10 seconds and then progressively increased, ending up with values higher than those obtained in the baseline evaluation. Caffeine ingestion led to a significant decrease in velocities, 24.7% in the group who ingested 120 milligrams and 21.5% in the group who ingested 45 milligrams, as well as in heart rate, 13.7%. On the other hand, there were no changes in the placebo group. Changes during cognitive tests. Similarly, during cognitive tests, participants experienced a slight increase in brain speeds at the start of the test, and then quickly returned to values close to baseline. This initial increase was observed in all groups, regardless of the dose of caffeine ingested by the participant. In the placebo group, there were statistically significant variations only in heart rate, between 8.6% and 10.7%, which can be attributed to the 30-minute rest. Study significance. So, what does all this mean? The study shows that caffeine has an acute influence on the cardiovascular system, specifically on the velocities of the middle cerebral arteries. Caffeine intake leads to a decrease in all velocities, indicating that the acute effect causes vasodilation of the cerebral arteries. This effect was more pronounced with higher doses of caffeine. Conclusion. To wrap up, while enjoying your favorite caffeinated beverages can provide a temporary boost, it's crucial to remember that moderation is key. Excessive and prolonged caffeine consumption can potentially lead to the health concerns we discussed earlier. Always consult a healthcare professional before making significant changes to your caffeine intake. If you hope to know more about the paper and article, you can find them in the description. Thanks for joining us today, and if you find this information interesting, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more fascinating insights. See you next time.